Hi, we're Group 6, and our discussion is on what is the role of Reelin in neurological disorders. We have a 6-step plan to answer our question. Step 1 is introducing the background of Reelin, including details on the Reelin signaling cascade. Step 2 is the importance of Reelin. Step 3 is the regulation of Reelin. Step 4 is the psychiatric disorders relating to Reelin. Step 5 is how Reelin mutations relate to the aforementioned disorders, and then future steps.
Reelin was first identified in mice that had a phenotype of a Reelin gait. It was a motor deficit, and it turned out they had an abnormal layering of their neocortex. Reelin is also a large secreted glycoprotein that functions as a serine protease and has roles in neuronal migration, synaptic plasticity, and memory formation. During development, Reelin is secreted by caudal reticular neurons, which are located in the outer layer of the developing neocortex. Reelin is also essential for proper neural layering and guides neurons to their correct positions in the brain cortex. Once development is completed, Reelin is secreted by GABAergic interneurons once the caudal cells die after development. Reelin is then repurposed as a neuromodulator in the organism. Reelin affects axonal and dendritic growth by stabilizing the cytoskeleton. It does this by binding to the extracellular domains of two receptors, the VL-DLR and ApoER2 receptors, activating DAB1, activating multiple downstream effectors which stabilize microtubules and actin. Reelin is regulated in multiple ways, one being the Reelin receptor ApoER2 can be alternatively spliced, resulting in different affinities for the protein, and post-secretory proteolytic processing of Reelin, affecting Reelin binding sites and also limiting diffusion.
Schizophrenia is a psychiatric disorder associated with deficits and changes that lead to impairments in the prefrontal cortex. Schizophrenia patients have low amounts of Reelin in their brain. Reelin plays a role in neural connectivity development during embryonic stages and synaptic
Plasticity
and postnatal stages. Downregulation of Reelin expression leads to prefrontal impairments. An experiment that was done looked at the effect of Reelin in the brain. Human stem cells were injected in normal rats and rats missing the Reelin gene, and they were checked a month later. It was found that stem cells in normal rats migrated to important cortical areas while stem cells in rats missing the Reelin gene failed to migrate. Preliminary results suggest that Reelin guides neurons to where they need to go.
A 2005 study showed a correlation between decreased Reelin signaling and autism. Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental disorder which results in problems in social interaction and unique patterns of behavior. Differential Reelin expression is thought to impair neuro and synaptic plasticity, resulting in these cognitive deficits. Reelin is encoded by the Reelin gene. Missense mutations in this gene can cause mutations that are found in patients which are affected by autism. Hypermethylation of the promoter is known to be found in schizophrenic patients, showing a correlation between a malfunctioning Reelin and schizophrenia. Several studies have observed how manipulating Reelin can result in certain consequences for the patient's health. Tests include how reductions in the expression of the Reelin protein were found in cases of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and autism. Several postmortem studies also support these studies.
Future directions can include further studies on how Reelin deficits relate to the symptoms of the aforementioned disorders, and potentially knocking out the Reelin gene and testing the consequences could also be involved. This is a song about Reelin. Hey, so Reelin is a very important glycoprotein involved in many processes. Hey, so Reelin has connections to disorders like schizophrenia and autism.